Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to aidbees. This is your host, Ashutosh, and it's Teachers' Day. I wish all the teachers across the globe a very, very happy Teachers' Day. And today, as the ritual follows, we are here with two educators from the industry, and they're all very experienced, very experts, and very big dignitaries in their field of education and directorship. Today, we have with us Dr. Neha Sharma, who's the principal of GD Goenka Public School, Ghaziabad, and a very acclaimed educator as well. Welcome, Dr. Neha.
Namaskar.
Today, we also have with us Dr. Rakesh Gupta, who has an experience of over 23 years in different capacities in the education sector, and he's currently the principal of JP Group of Schools. Dr. Rakesh Gupta, we're really glad to have you here.
Hey, Mayor, good afternoon and God bless you.
Thank you. So, before we move on to discussing what we are here for today we are going to discuss about the influence of kindness within classrooms. How does kindness go ahead within teachers and within students to create a spiral impact and to make kinder classrooms, not just kinder students, but also kinder teachers? And what is kindness in schools or education? We'll be having a long-term discussion with our guests here. But before that, I would like to give a quick introduction if the guests allow. We'll start with Dr. Neha Sharma. She's the principal of GD Goenka Public School, Ghaziabad, as I mentioned. And she's also the LinkedIn top voice for personality development and education. She holds a PhD in education from Sri Venkateswara University. A school principal and trainer with experience in policy making, she has been the former deputy secretary of CBSE and ADG at National Skill Development Agency. She's also skilled in mentorship, education, technology, life skills education, instructional design, and strategic planning. We're really happy and glad to have you here, Neha.
Pleasure is mutual. Thank you.
And now up to Dr. Rakesh Gupta. Dr. Rakesh Gupta has been working in the education sector since the last 23 years, and he has worked with multiple reputed educational institutions in various administrative positions, academic research, and also holds a command on education, sciences, technology, politics, media, and environment. He's currently the principal of JP Group of Schools, and he has a doctorate degree from the Punjabi University. He's an expert in CBSE rules and regulations and their compliance. He's been a CBSE observer through his life and also a resource person for the NEP and the NCF. He's also an expert speaker and mentor, and his expertise in academic strategies, pedagogy, and design thinking makes him the dignitary that he is. Welcome, Dr. Rakesh.
Thank you. It's my honor and privilege. Thanks a lot.
So let's just start the discussion. Let's kickstart the discussion by talking about the influence of teaching kindness in classrooms. I'll start with Dr. Neha. Neha ji, what do you think kindness within classrooms mean to you? Do you have any list of daily activities or acts of kindness that you can highlight for our audience?
Sure. So first thing first, what I very strongly feel is that kindness is not about doing something super big, something which is very important, very grand. It is like, doing those small little acts, like in the morning. So greeting a child with a big smile. So that friendly hello in the morning, that fist bump that we do very regularly, that high five that we do. So this is somewhere when we start our day like this, the child feels, oh, okay, there's somebody who likes me. Sorry. So this feeling, of being liked, I think is a very kind feeling, very nice feeling. And what happens here is that the child, when they feel that they are being seen, they are being valued, they feel that sense of confidence in them. So like, I mean, if I talk about early morning, so there are kids who will come to my room, or when I am outside, they'll greet me. And they don't want a regular good morning with me. They want me to hug them. They want me to uh, bend down, sit down, and give them a hug. So those kind of things we do regularly. Then empathy is something which is very important. So what I strongly believe in and what I always share with my team is, I mean, content is fine, but if the child is not ready to receive that content, how is it going to work? So first thing first, if you see a child who is not responding in the class, who is sitting in a corner, and you can sense that there's something not right. Invest few minutes with that child. Maybe the child is undergoing something, some tough family situation, and those 5 minutes invested, those 10 minutes invested are seriously going to help a lot. And that is going to kind of create an everlasting bond. Now what, there are few things that we do, that is, we have our own little ways to celebrate kindness. So we have shout out boards in the classroom, wherein if there's an act of kindness done by anyone, it can be a teacher as well, it can be a child as well. So they write it on a post-it note and they place it there. So it is like,
That's
and they
nice.
decorate it with lots of bubbles and whatever doodling that they can do around it. Then we also kind of, do lots of giving back to the society. So it was, I think Monday only, we have visited an old age home and an orphanage. And when kids came back, they were like absolutely overwhelmed. They said, ma'am, you should plan such activities every month, or can we go regularly? So it's like, great, I mean, if you really want to do it, why not? And this kind of a thing, this kind of a bond wherein they are being kind to others, sitting with a stranger who is like abandoned by his or her family, and listening to their stories, listening to what they have to share about their life experiences, it is something which starts that sense of kind of a connect, and of course it builds in that feeling of kindness. And overall, if I say that, it is like in those small little actions wherein you tell everyone, you make other person feel that yes, you care for them and they feel valued, they feel important about being who
Absolutely.
they are.
That's very nicely pointed out and also very descriptively put in. Dr. Rakesh, do you have any examples of such acts of kindness from your school or your teachers?
The RD may have added lots of input, but definitely, this concept, this domain of kindness or empathy, or we can say, basically, it's a subdomains of our humanity or human values or being a human. The things are changing with the passage of time. If I say in the decades, the technologies, the vision and mission of education is changing. Everybody's in a race of, getting lots of tags or achievements, maybe in schooling, the boards, then further competitions in different domains, maybe it's a medical, non-medical, commerce, humanities. So everybody is in a race. It's a very fixed schedule of timetable regarding theory, practical. And there is a capacity in CBSE schools about 40 students, and productively there are about 30-35 minutes. Everybody's in a way of content, everything. But somehow, in this main objective, these things are somehow, due to certain reasons, are lacking somehow. But kindness, just you can say a behavior of a teacher also. If you say regarding myself as a principal, you'll be surprised that in my 23 years of experience, I never as a teacher also give any punishment in a physical way or a thrashing like that stuff. And used to, sometimes our teachers are out of that, they used to do it. I used to convey them in Delhi also that the norms are changed. With the nursery student is very sensitive. If you just say something in home or in school, somehow he or she may have some grudges also. He start in a grudging way or in a negative way. The things are changed. The society is changed. So in that way, the softness of your talk and the gestures, as ma'am already conveyed, that temperness or softness give a very, a confidence in the student. Maybe he or she is disturbed due to family matters or other things, that electronics, that mobiles has changed things. The best friend are the mobiles. In the same room, if the rich family, there is a lack of prices of the mobiles are there. Nobody as a parenting or, brother, sister, nobody is connected emotionally. So when we do in our school, somehow they get a soft dose of that kindness also. Maybe as Ma'am already conveyed, in low student there can be the hugs also, or for the senior student there can be a distance created friendship where there any type of problems or hormonal changes are there. Students are in a different way. We used to every school is doing in clubs and houses or different activities to make them comfortable. They want get disturbed due to the what the people are doing, what we have to do, what is the life. These type of questions start coming in the teenage life, especially the hormones
Very
are
true.
changing. So we do all these things daily also that make them psychologically, mentally quite comfortable. And this is the
True.
first where students start focusing for the studies also.
That's
That's
very interesting because it also takes into consideration the softer skills and the compassion that teachers also need to learn, right? Because from teachers, as we both agreed also, and we all agree on the floor that from teachers only it gets traveled, right? So I really like these small ways of hugging or just talking to the children or even posting a note on the board because that just navigates children into a way of thinking towards softer skills, right? But where are these softer skills coming from? From these teachers. So, Dr. Neha, my next question to you would be in that regard about the teaching logistics in schools, right? Do you think that educators today, and this is to the both of you, and I would quickly like to just brief it up on this, that do you think that the educators today are well equipped with soft skills like compassion and empathy? And if they're not, how do you think that can be happen? Because as Dr. Rakesh also said, that there's a lot of latent violence happening, and there's a lot of people not really following the newer ways of education. But as we see, it's compassion, empathy all across. So, do you think there are some skills missing? And if yes, then how can they be incorporated within teachers?
Okay, so am I going first?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'll start with a research, right?
Mhm.
So I'm sure we all have heard about Darwin's this thing like survival of the fittest.
Evolution,
So
yes.
when we talk about this survival of the fittest, we think of Darwin, but actually it was Herbert Spencer and other social Darwinians who coined this term. If I talk in terms of Darwin, Darwin would have said survival of the kindest, because he, in his first book, which was like Descent of Men, Selection and Relationship, wherein they talk about having strength, okay? But in the next book that he came up, which was like expression of emotion in men and animal. So he pointed out that human beings, they have a face which is kind. We have our eyebrows, we have our face that smiles, we have those facial expressions which are kind by all means. So taking it from there, when we talk about teachers, that kindness is a little bit more, they are way more evolved species when it comes to kindness. I mean, I've never seen an unkind teacher, honestly, in my entire life. There can be teachers who might have gone through some sad and bad phases. Circumstantial issues, I agree, could have been there, but never have I met a teacher who is not kind towards the children.
It's so
And
nice.
wherever there's a gap, of course there is. I mean, there are teachers who need a little that extra dose, right? So here I'll share a small anecdote or a small story, if I may be permitted. So it is like, a teacher went to a doctor and she said, I'm not feeling happy with what I'm doing. I'm not feeling happy in my class. I don't like to teach this group of students. Give me some medicine. Doctor said, okay, you have to be kind to smile and empathy. And then the teacher was like very much upset about whatever is happening in her life. She said, if this doesn't work, then what? The doctor said, nothing, just increase the dose. So I think increasing the dose of kindness is what works superbly well. And of course, if we talk officially, we do lots of workshops. I mean, we have life skills workshops, we have lots of stress management workshop and various other workshops wherein we discuss these things out in open. We talk about things which are required by teachers. So, I mean, if I talk about school, we have a kindness corner as well. So, wherein teachers can sit together, they share about something nice that might have happened in their class. When we do staff meetings, we kind of share and appreciate good moments that the teachers have shared, or if there's something nice that I've seen. So if I mean, the other day I was walking in the corridor and there was a child whose foot slipped off her, I mean, the shoe slipped off her feet. And she was limping and walking. And when I was following her, she started running and rushed to the washroom. And from there, she was peeping out. So I called her out. I said, "Okay, can you tie it?" She nodded. She was a nursery kid, right? So I said, "Okay, sit on this chair." There was a small chair there. I'll tie it for you. Now, I mean, she agreed to this whole idea. I sat there, I tied the shoe. And at that moment, a teacher crossed by. She said, "Ma'am, I've never done this to any child. We always tell children, tie your shoelaces. We never bend down and tie their laces." And this is a lesson that I've learned for my entire life, that you don't have to always do things like do this, do that. You yourself have to do certain things. So, as a principal, I think we have to model those, examples of kindness as well. And these things, they go a long way. And I rest my case here.
That's very true and insightful in the sense that they go a long way from teachers to students, right? Rakesh, my next question to you on that is just a follow up from what Dr. Neha said. Uh, we have talked about the teaching logistics right now, but what impact do you think that such logistics and kindness skills have on teachers vis-a-vis students? Because as we've agreed upon that anything a teacher teaches or anything a student learns is from this teacher. So, how do you think kindness travels from teachers to students in a classroom?
See, as per my perception, there are two domains for that. Kindness, empathy, we can say the values, they are basically categorized into two parts. One is called as the inherent or natural capacity. Mean is that person is really kind or is very honest or is a good human from the heart. One thing is that. Second is the synthetic part, which we do in our schools, as ma'am already conveyed, different type of workshops or training and many modules type of the stuff is there. Lots of, ERPs and other stuffs are there to make it more elaborative in where different courses are there. Now, if both things are in harmonious way working, then you get a productive teacher for this performance. And once this is ready, then naturally that can be inherited or transported to the students also, because a teacher is naturally kind. Okay. To show is a side effect. If a teacher, if he, okay, there is no any principal, no any inspection, and a teacher is free now. Now, what type of the problem, as already ma'am discussed with you some of the case there, as a role model or whatever. Now, then that stuff, if a teacher is knowing that, okay, there is no any type of boundaries, no any my appraisal is going on by a principal due to my kindness, then that stuff, if is done, will be a lifelong inherited process for the students, because naturality always exists, syntheticity goes, right? Schools are doing many of things, blah and blah, like that stuff, to show that due to certain reasons, to management or whatever. But if you get a stuff of these type of teachers, that's a big asset to the school for this type of process we are discussing.
So I think we can agree that this sort of natural kindness that you talked about, I would like to know a little more on that about how can it be shaped up because children are young and they're very impressionable in that sense.
This is very simple. If a teacher think that all students are like his son or daughter, right? Or their younger children's like your sisters, brothers, and he or she is very concerned regarding all type of problems. That problem may be regarding his happiness, cheerfulness, sadness. Okay, he or she will go to, it's not like in class, outside also. Okay, somewhere. Okay, beta, what happened? Kaise kya? Make him comfortable, right? Now the students are emotionally isolated this time, right? Everybody, this type of age, the secondary secondary stage type of schools, the students are isolated emotionally because parents are there. Okay, we give fees. Okay, you are given mobiles, like that stuff. Formalities are there, and the schools are okay, right? The course is covered. Next class, next class. Friends are there for any type of requirement, right? Ultimately, a student feel okay who is there with him or her regarding all type of stuff we are discussing. So that is why these things should be happening on a daily basis regarding maybe there may be some financial problem. He or she is not able to have good clothes or the stationery. It's not like that every school is rich with a rich pupil, right? Most of our Indian schools are, 80% plus are, middle class type of stuff, whether it's a CBSE, ICS, whatever board is a government board. So that start on a daily basis, maybe in assembly also somebody, for example, the girls, there is a problem of hormones. For example, in my school, I have the pad machine, right? Where the students given free pads if there is any problem. Some students are from poor family. We used to give them their like our daughters, right? So we're doing many things like this. Many schools are doing. So
So
this is
small activities really actually contribute to creating this kindness within the classroom, right?
Right.
And that's very insightful. So I have so far understood how teachers really become the navigators for this, but I think something that's very important also as school leaders is policy making for you guys, because the more kinder policies you implement in schools, the better environment it gets to, right? Nehaji, as a school leader, do you want to suggest any policy changes to our audiences for a kinder workplace for teachers? How do you make schools or classrooms a better workplace for teachers?
Okay, so when we talk about making schools kind of, first thing first, we usually say schools, our team is like a family. So if they are like your family, then they should feel they are like family. So for example, if there's a teacher who's unwell, for sure, a concern call. We expect our teachers to give concern calls to the children who are not attending their school. So one, we should, at least I try to do it as much as possible, that if one of my teachers, if any of my teachers is unwell, I would just give a simple concern call in the evening and ask, okay, what happened? If there's a family member who is unwell and the teacher has taken leave to tend or attend to those members of the family, again, is everything all right? So such kind of a bond definitely goes a long way. The other thing that we try to do is that, there's always a situation wherein the teacher is trying to communicate that they are not defaulting with any malified intention, but because we are adamant that no, we are the principals, we have to kind of, go by the rule book, we leave no scope for this kind of a thing. I still remember I was rejected in an interview because I was asked that what do you think is the most important trait or characteristics of a principal? I said empathy. And I could see on the faces of the interview panel that they didn't like my answer. But well, if I believe in a value, why should I cover it up to, something which sounds very administrative? I am the way I am. So I think there's no harm being an empathetic principal. I cover up, I do take up substitution classes for a teacher who is feeling unwell. I go teach out my subject wherever I feel that my teacher needs a break or she is having lots of work on her plate and she needs time to finish that up. So these small little gestures, of course, matter a lot. Writing a thank you note for a work that is, we also have one thing, I'll take a break in a while and I'll show you. We do happy grams, right? So happy grams are cards that we give to anybody. It can be from anybody to anybody. So a happy gram from me to a didi, or from a didi to a teacher, from a parent to a teacher. So it has got nothing specified. I'll show you in a while. I'll just get up and pick out one. So happy grams are, part of our routine. We do that. And when it comes to birthdays, I'm the first one to greet all my teachers. And I have created a system that I don't miss out on greeting or wishing any of my teachers. And in some cases, I also wish their children, their spouses, their anniversaries and all. So, creating that kind of an environment, you cannot do a lot. There are lots of concerns which you cannot address. But then making the other person feel that, okay, you are in a place where you are valued, where you are kind of required. I think that works as a policy, and every school should at least have some clear this thing on giving teachers time out, doing get-togethers, family get-togethers, teacher get-togethers, the staff club activities, and things like that, which create a bond beyond the routine work and task assigned.
That's very helpful. Actually, you've noted down quite a lot of activities that I think the audiences and the teachers, when they hear it, they're definitely going to follow. Rakesh, do you have anything to add to this list of activities for policies on kindness?
RD ma'am had conveyed lots of wonderful things regarding this thing. See, this thing is more, you can say, productive once the management or owners or a principal or a head of institution just thought on a process that if the parents were able to give life to students, these teachers are crafting the life, right? We teachers, myself as an educator also, we have created all professions. But unfortunately, in our country, only actors, cricketers, etc., are honored, right? We are nowhere. Especially if you're in private education, whether in university, college, school, the things are in another way. So that sensation is there in the principal or the head of the institution. Then that teachers will be more, you can say, make them comfortable in their emotions, in their performance, and everything, right? So regarding their salaries, right, on their leaves, their problems of life, we have to consider them as a family. It's a big family. You're the head of the family. Okay, they have the problems. You're supposed to solve it, listen to them, right? Having some light movements with them also, right? Not like a dictator like that of stuff. Like we are sitting in a meeting, we are all team. That comfort zone in the mind of a teachers will make them more productive, more positive, more happy. So that's a sensation, right? So that should be, again, I'm saying it should be inherent or natural, not like synthetic. Color is coming, principal is very concerned. Okay, in private schools, well, whether it's a very big school or small school, it's like in the inherent of a head of institution. So that's how wonderful.
And I totally agree with these measures because I think these also feel the teachers that they're included. They're a part of the system. More so a
Right.
part of the system, they're a part of the family, as both of you measured, because checking on a teacher when they're not doing well, as Nehaji said, is always a kind gesture. Or maybe, checking on their families or how their homes or households are doing is also a responsibility as a school leader. This has been really, really informative and really insightful. So we have Nehaji back. I think she's back with the happy card that she wanted
Yeah,
to
I
share.
tried searching for it, but when I saw Rakesh ji summing up, I just rushed, leaving everything open to let me be there on the
That's
call.
not an issue, not an issue at all. Wonderfully put so that kindness is the need of the hour itself. And I think we also teach children largely and teachers largely of, concepts like information quotient, which is your IQ, or your empathy quotient, which is your EQ. Similarly, I would like to inform the audiences and both of you as well that we have developed this patented unique technology and unique measurement tool called kindness quotient, which is
Yeah.
a KQ. So this is an instinct-based test on which the students and the teachers can give this test based on various answers and how they answer it. We give them a score, and you can then evaluate the kindness of students and teachers at your workplace as well. So I would like to know from you, how do you think that the creation of such a tool called kindness quotient can help students? Because you now attach, as you do with IQ or EQ, you attach a number or you attach a measurement with it. So how helpful do you think such a kindness quotient is, Nehaji?
I think it's a great idea, quite unique. And when I think about it, of course, KQ is going to have huge impact on IQ, which is intelligent quotient, and on SEL, which is socio-emotional learning, which is towards social quotient and the emotional quotient. And I think so if we have a child who is, kind to others, and we give them points for their kindness, if we appreciate and acknowledge that kindness, or maybe announce the kindness champion of the month kind of a thing, or give them those badges, I'm a kind child, So I think these things are definitely going to improve the entire environment. Those vibes. When we talk about vibes, I think we all want happy and positive vibes in wherever we are. So I'm sure this is definitely going to add on. And for the teachers, we do those APARs, like the annual appraisals. So if we have a section for kindness as well there, wherein we see how kind, because there are teachers who somehow, as Rakesh ji said at a moment, that the teacher has to be kind when no one is watching her, and they have to behave the same throughout. So if we have a teacher who is actually being nice to children all the times, of course not when they are not doing their work, I mean that also can be conveyed kindly without hurting the child. But yes, at the same time, if there's a teacher who is kind, who is having positive relationships with students, supporting relationship with students, they can have that kind of segment in their apart, wherein we identify that who are high on their kindness quotient. So yes, I think this is interesting. And we compete on lots of things, right? We compete for marks, we compete for in competitions, activities, whatnot. So why not in kindness? Let's compete for kindness as well.
Absolutely. Rakesh, what are your thoughts on having a kindness quotient in schools like IQ or EQ?
It's in schooling process, schooling, whatever we're doing in schools, we are going to produce, our main target is to have the holistic development in students. If uh, future time, these things, human values, which is a main domain, and this kindness, empathy is a sub part of that. This is to be the important part of holistic personality development, right? To get the knowledge, okay, to clear the boards, competition will be secondary, because the world, future world will depend upon peace, harmony, and that will be given by these things only, right? So
Absolutely.
if we are going for that process, the stuff you have prepared, that will be a wonderful, no doubt, it will be productive and will be accepted by schools. But we have to thought that, I don't know the detail of your modules, what you have prepared, but the basic process or objective should be that all things should touch their heart or their, thinking process. Means they should realize internally why these things are very important. Otherwise, again, that will be in a synthetic way. Okay, the students will be doing for marks only, or the teacher is maybe as appraisal is do for the only appraisal, they will be focusing on that. But if it is done in a very naturalistic way, or is to be inculcated there in internal process of thinking, right? Or there you can say culture. We say culture is a much better process, that will be very productive for schools also, for students also, for staff also.
That's very, very, yeah, Neha, you had something to add
Yeah,
to it.
I'll just say one thing here. So when you talk about culture, I think when we are putting it for some, we associate some stakes to it. So what happens is, I'm sure we all are aware of the Atomic Habit book, which
Correct.
says that those tiny steps towards kindness can result into a person changing altogether. And I think if we gradually bring in some systems wherein even if they are forced to be kind, but if it is a routine that they have to be kind, I'm sure they'll become a better version of themselves.
Absolutely. I agree because habits are formed after you start with the little things, right? And I think to make kindness a habit, especially with schools, because children are so young and impressionable, it will take certain efforts. It will take those little steps that you both have underlined so beautifully. And I think we all agree that something like a kindness quotient would always help students because it will not just engage them, but it will also give them a way forward to the teachers as well to think, to grow and to evolve. And I would like to tell our audiences and the speakers as well here that if you wish to implement the kindness quotient in your schools, if you wish to engage your students in kindness, we have more than one program for it. We have kindness classes, we have kindness quotient, where we teach students on module basis about empathy, about compassion, and we also make kinder teachers like that. So do try that. It has been a wonderful experience talking to both of you. I think what I learned most was from your experience that how it is very important to connect to the teachers and to the staff because kindness works on connection like that. Before we move on to the concluding and the closing messages of it all, do you have any personal stories to tell, or do you have anything that you want to just add before we close the discussion?
I think as teachers and with Rakeshi with such long 23 years of experience, I'm sure we definitely have lots of stories. So maybe Rakeshji, you should go first this time and I'll come next.
And, see, ma'am, there are lots of things, in a, life in a decades, we are seeing the new decades and decade. Uh, regarding the domain where we are working, I will make a connection regarding that story is concerned with that. See, once I went, just completed my schooling in plus two, so I was in a way to that time, ma'am, that years 30 year plus, there were only CT and PMT, medical or non-medical, doctor, engineer. So,
That's
I was not able to, because I'm from a middle class family, not got the coaching, was not able to get a good rank for to be get the MBBS. So I was very disturbed. So, but there were certain teachers who make them so motivated. Okay, they said, okay, जैसे my son is Dr. Rakesh Gupta. They call me Gupta. They say Gupta कुछ नहीं हुआ, कोई नहीं हुआ, फिर क्या डॉक्टर नहीं बना तो आईएएस कर लेगा, ये कर लेगा, वो कर लेगा. तो मैं इतना मोटिवेट हुआ. I again get motivated. I did my BSc medical, get good marks. MSc, UGC net I have cleared in biology. I did PhD from PWC Patiala in biology. See, ma'am, that motivation of my teacher, some of the teachers, still they are in my heart, or I love them a lot. That again restarted me. Otherwise, I would destroyed. So that's one of the story which is concerned with that connection. That's a concern. We are like means they treat me as a son. I'm not, may not biologically, I'm not his son, or right, that stuff. So that thing that time was very fast, very strong. That days in 80s, 90s, right? Now the things are, well, where they're going from natural to synthetic. Again, I'm saying everything is synthetic, right? If the chairman is there, principal is good. If the principal is there, teachers are good. So that's how it's one of my very brief story regarding this concept we are discussing.
No, this is very true, because I think it was the motivation of your teachers and your gurus that made you reach where you are, and we're really glad to have you.
They are due to my teachers, frankly.
Absolutely.
They motivated me. Otherwise, I were destroyed like any guy in a road, right? So that's how the things move. Even though parents have the blessings, but that teachers, no, there is a need of that type of teachers, and these things, the domain you're discussing, they can help it, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Neha ji, over to you for the stories. I'm really
okay.
excited to also, maybe if you could get the happy card through somewhere. We're really keen on it.
I mean, you'll have to give me some time before the next this thing. I'll search for it. If not, I have a copy of it. I hope on the laptop. I'll search for it by all means. It's a happy gram, basically.
Share it with us later also, that works. Yeah.
I'll definitely do that later for sure. Okay, so now when we talk about happiness, I go back to my early years of teaching. One day early in the morning, I was taking stroll in the campus with the then principal. So we were just generally chit-chatting about children coming to school, they are happy, greeting us and all. So I just casually said that, sir, you know what, howsoever bad my previous day is, but every morning when I come to school, when I see the children, when I see their happy faces, see their, I mean, the energy that they bring in, I feel I am at the right place. I feel happy about it. He, in a very, I mean, I can't say exactly the tone, but yes, it was not very welcoming. He simply said, Neha, you are in your initial years of teaching. We'll talk about it, say 10 years, 15 years down the line.
Hmm.
And it so happened that we connected again after a long gap. And this time he called up to appreciate, Neha, I see the work that you're doing. You're doing great work and everything. So I said, sir, I have to say something. He said, what? I said, sir, I still feel happy going to school in the morning. And he said, why are you saying this? So I made him recall that whole episode. And he just laughed. He said, oh, I never thought you're going to carry it to your heart and you are going to kind of, talk about it so many years down the line. So, schools are happy places. And I think it, as Sir said, that it is kind of a reflection. It manifests the personality of the teachers, of the principal, of everyone around. And when schools are happy, they are safer. And when schools are safer, the children tend to learn better. And that's what they come for. Their holistic development is possible when the schools are happier and better. And at the same time, it's not just we making a difference. So, I still remember there was a teacher in our school who was a very good teacher. But towards later years, he started kind of becoming grudgy and not very happy soul and all. And came the Teacher's Day, and a girl, she gave him a note saying that, sir, you are my inspiration. You are the best teacher that I've ever had in my life. And you teach mathematics so well that I'm sure I'm going to kind of take up maths as my subject throughout. And that teacher came to me sharing that message, ma'am, today this message, and I'm going to say this in Hindi because English won't do justice to the emotions that he brought in. He said, मैम आज ना बस मुझे ये लग रहा है कि मैं कितना गलत था ये सोच के कि टीचिंग ने मुझे कुछ दिया नहीं. मैम ये जो मुझे मिला है ये कहाँ मुझे कहीं और मिल पाता.
Very
और
beautiful.
आज से मेरी यही कोशिश रहेगी कि हर बच्चा यही महसूस करे. And, I still remember I had tears in my eyes when he so truthfully said that to me. So children also with their kind notes, with their, heart-touching gestures, make the difference in teachers' life.
That's very, very beautiful. And I hate to do this, but we have reached the closure of this conversation. And of course, we're all bound by time. But I have been personally very inspired by the both of you, and also by these little anecdotes of kindness, because as we've agreed upon, not just students, but teachers are the main navigation point for kindness within classrooms. And I think the influence of kindness runs from the directors like yourselves, from the executive administration like yourselves, to teachers, and then eventually to students. So before we close this discussion, as we're celebrating Teachers' Day this week, your one-liner concluding messages for teachers out there. Rakesh, we'll start with you.
My message on Teacher Day, first, very advanced Happy Teacher Day. I will convey to my all fellow teachers or educators that we are the epitome of, all professions. We create our profession, Guru Brahma, we say. We are equal to God. We are not doing proud, but we feel happy and satisfied. And to, we are creating and crafting the life of students who are the ambassadors of our country. Our future country depends on our students. So we are doing a very wonderful job, and we should do it in a very wonderful way with honesty and, with values of humanity also. That's my message on Teacher Day.
Absolutely. Neha ji, up to you.
Well, as a teacher myself, to all my fellow teachers, I take a moment to express my gratitude to all the hard work that you're doing. Once we become principals, we are less in the classroom than you are more. And I know the challenges that the teacher faces in the classroom. And when a call comes from principal's cabin, it is seriously something I can understand, the kind of emotional roller coaster that you go through. But nevertheless, I really sincerely appreciate all the work that you are doing. And I know that, you keep children first. You are sure that, yes, you are going to make the difference in the lives of the children, and you touch lives like no one other can. So salutes to you. Stay blessed always.
Thank you. That's very, very inspiring. And to everybody watching this, if you're a teacher, if you're a student, or if you're a school administrator, we express our kindest gratitude to you, as both the speakers said, for being the harbingers and being the drivers of change in schools. And we're really glad that schools and classrooms are becoming kinder spaces. We hope that they keep on practicing kindness, and acts of kindness become a normal act in the schools, and we promote them. So a very, very happy Teachers' Day to everybody watching this. And please connect back for the next podcast on aidbees. Do not forget to subscribe our channel. And thank you so much, all of you, for joining in.
Thank you. Pleasure is all ours. Namaskar.
Thank you so much and have a great day. Do watch aidbees.
Thank you.